Welcome, world, to Life, Love, and Wellness Global, a worldwide wellness movement. I am Reverend Sandy Rogers, and as the creator of this historic event, it is my pleasure to welcome you. We come together to bring you this historic event. We have practitioners, holistic practitioners, we have medical doctors, we have spiritual individuals. This event is so lovingly dedicated to my mother, Mrs. Barbara Dean Brown. And my mother taught me like 40 plus years ago about the importance and the meaning behind herbs. And she would always say, we don't know what they putting in those pills, so you better not, get hooked on prescription drugs. And so we listened to Mom, but not all of us paid attention. My sister, bless her heart, was diagnosed recently thereafter with asthma, and she was prescribed prednisone, which is a very powerful steroid. And my sister actually got hooked on steroids, like someone out on the street kind of hooked, like on heroin or crack or something like that. And so my mom and my sister are both on the other side, living in the other dimension, but they're upholding me, and this is dedicated to their memory. So we don't want to come and make you change your mind about what you're doing. We just want to provide information to you, something different, so that you have options to choose from, so that you're not stuck. Because the environment that we now live in, the fast foods, the toxins in the air that we breathe and in the water that we drink, and the processed foods, and all of that is causing havoc on this precious body temple. So God created our bodies to heal themselves, but they can only heal themselves when they're fed and they're nourished and they're stress-free. And so the 60 or so or more experts that we have are bringing you this worldwide wellness movement in an attempt to share their testimonies and their information with you. So we have from age 14 on up. I don't even know what the oldest age is. I think 88 or something. So you see, that's a wide range of knowledge that we're bringing you. And so we hope that you come and that you get all the knowledge that you need to affect a positive change on your life, and share this with others. It's free, it's online, and so we're just so thankful that you decided to be a part of our listening community, the viewing community, and we certainly appreciate you for giving us your time of day and your energy and your efforts to being with us and to being a part of this historic event. We have pulled together people of color for you, by you, right? So we want to make sure that you understand that we too, melanated people with color, can enjoy, practice, and participate in some of these modalities that others have been doing for centuries, and that is pretty new to our community. So we talk about Qigong, we talk about meditation, yoga, spiritual work from a different perspective than religion. So we talk about the spirituality aspect. We talk about abuse in the families. We talk about all kinds of subjects because we know that in our communities there are layers and layers and layers and layers of stuff that we never talk about that's causing a negative effect on our bodies and its healing process. So we address it, whatever it is, and we hope that you will benefit from the many experts that we have, and that you walk away with lots of knowledge and lots of new information, and that you become fully empowered to share information with others. So thank you for being with us. We love you and we bless you, and we look forward to doing this again. But thanks for being here with the first one. We appreciate you.
Love and wellness. Life, love and wellness.
So today we're going to take a different spin on events and circumstances that contribute to the community life and family life. So we have a young man with us. I've actually had the pleasure of meeting and working with him very closely last year, and he has a powerful story to share. So parents, elders, caregivers of young people, I want you to listen very closely. My guest is Mr. James Hardy, and I'm going to have him to introduce himself to you so that he gets to tell you what he wants you to know about who he is. James, would you introduce yourself, please?
Well, yes, I'm James Hardy, and I am 16 years old. I go to Jefferson High School, and there's a lot behind. There is a lot behind me still going to school and me still being here.
And what issues did you have to face, particularly as a young person going to school or just being out in your community with your neighbors and childhood friends?
There's a lot. For one, I wish I had my hearing on right now, but I don't. But I am partially deaf in one ear, in the right ear, and I am 100% deaf in my left ear. So, and that's one thing wearing a hearing aid. And on that, when I was a baby, I was born with I think I don't know what to call it, but it's something where my adjusted rib, it was an infection in my adjusted rib, so I had to have surgery on there, and then the doctors found a hole in my head, which was by accident. So I stayed in the hospital until I think September, because I was born in July, so then I didn't come home till then. And there are a lot of things that I couldn't do, even though I don't do like sports, because I don't like sports, and I won't be able to play sports. And there are doctors that say that I won't be able to learn how to ride a bike because of I guess my balance and the way I am, because of certain things with the medicine they gave me as a baby, which also affected me, and that's why I'm deaf, because they have the medicine has lifelong side effects, and I wish it didn't happen, but at the same time, it was either grow the rest of my life deaf, or my mother. I guess my mother unplugged everything and just let me die as her first child. And so it was either that or that. So.
Well, we're lucky to have you still amongst the living because you have such a powerful story to tell. So, the hearing difficulty that you had young in life, did that affect how you were able to relate to your teachers or your fellow classmates?
A lot. Even though I had my hearing in, this was when back in the 2000s, when I think this was when YouTube and everything started coming out, when everything was starting to, and then technology they were starting to take a huge turn, because then I think it was like the hearing aid with the string and the clip that you like clip to your shirt, and then there's a cord to your hearing aid clips all over to your shirt. I had that when I was in kindergarten. That was a big thing that people noticed, and I knew what it was. I knew at the age of like 5 and 6 that okay, it helps me hear, and I need it, but at the same time I couldn't do certain things because I didn't want to rip it out or like rip the cord or anything. And it was also a good thing and a bad thing, because if I took it out, I wouldn't be able to hear my teachers. And then when that happened, I actually did get frustrated. And then after that, when I get frustrated, put up the hearing aid, I won't hear certain sounds, because with that, you don't hear certain sounds, so which caused my speech impediment, and then that made it a lot worse. So it had a good effect, a really good effect, and a bad effect.
So you knew you were special, or at least different from everybody else. Was that a positive? I know you said that having to wear the hearing aid so that you could hear
was a positive. But what about like overall? Were you teased about it? Were you made to feel different because you did have this extra piece of something on your body?
And when I was in elementary, like all throughout kindergarten and in second grade, it really didn't bring me anything because it was just like everything I felt good. Like it felt good. I'm like, okay, I have this thing that here, and and it's expensive. So I have something that's expensive. And you don't. If it's a little kid, it's a little logic or whatever. So at the time, it was really nothing until I got into like third grade. People, I guess I don't know. It was the color. I chose the color because when I started to wear my home hearing aid, I would choose my own colors. And then my mother really likes purple, and I thought this one day. I think I don't know. This was the time she was sick, and I thought it'd be a little special to get the hearing aid purple and black for her. And but kids started making fun of me because it was purple, and I had this thing on my ear that they didn't see anybody else wearing, so they were like, okay, you think that you had that, and okay, why is it purple? Why is it blue? At first, it wasn't nothing until it got worse when my speech was getting worse because of I guess hearing aids are made different. They're like glasses. Some people need reading glasses, some people need seeing glasses, some people need contacts, just contacts. So certain hearing aids are made for right ear, left ear, or if you are deaf but you do have a little hearing on both ears, they made one is for right, one is for left, and I only have one right. So knowing that no sound, I can hear no sound in his ear was like okay, he needs his hearing aid. Like he needs hearing aid at a young age. Because I could have went on probably wait until I got a little bit older, like in middle school. I would probably like okay, he's gonna be middle school. He needs it now. But since I was so young and since I'm partly deaf and just one ear, I needed it, and so that's what made it hard. Cause it's like okay, now people are teasing me about it. I need it, but I don't want to wear it because of just I don't want people talking about me, like bullying me, like it messed with me. And then middle school was gonna take a turn because there was a lot more going on at home. So when my depression came in, that's when kids realized when I would try to talk, whether I was angry or whether I was just trying to talk, my speech was getting worse because of me not wearing my hearing aid. And that's one thing the teachers, my mom even was like, make that part of his grade because I was one of those kids, surprisingly, that was actually serious about my grade. So, and my mom knew, but she did it out of love. She didn't want me to go, okay, I'm a used to grade. She wanted me to like, without the hearing aid, I wouldn't hear any notes or anything. I wouldn't hear anything with the teacher was saying. But in middle school, it was the same girl that I thought she would leave me alone when I was in third grade, third, fourth, and fifth. I don't know what happened. Like something happened with her family, my family. I don't know. She was, be nice, but then once she didn't get her way with me, or once I was trying to get after her, she would always shrink out my hearing aid. And then sometimes in class, I would walk by, she tripped me. But it was just a lot of things, and then she would just have other kids joining with her, like followers, and so where it broke me was the fact that it wasn't just one person, it was people, with other people either that I knew that I didn't know, or just people that I saw would say, and then they would say mean things about stuff that didn't have anything to do with my history. They would just say mean things about me. I guess being a certain word that I don't like using. At the time, I didn't like seeing the F word, like F word, as in for like LG, the LGBT community. It was just a lot, and so there was a lot going on with that and at home. And then people were talking about my mother, how how they would say what mother can do this, but you can't do this. Who can drive but won't do this? Who can do this? Who can get a house, do this, but can't pay this? Who can do all this but I have a job? And it was just like my anger getting worse. So when it made me frustrated to fight was if I couldn't get it out in words, I wanted to hit them instead of trying to talk it out, trying to calm down. So that's when the violence came. Then I was getting more trouble because I was the one fighting more. I was invited. I was either slamming stuff, breaking, like either punching holes in walls, but it just got to the point where like now I'm the one being punished for being hurt, but at the same time, it's like you don't know what to do. You don't know whether you should just stop talking, let them do, run away, cry, or just sit there and fight. But starting in 7th grade, I turned to alcohol at a young age because at a young age, my father, he sold drugs, but he would sometimes drink a lot. And my mother and her, like, you don't, like, I guess, I don't know if it's me, but something like watching your mother and your father fight and, like, and watching your father give your mother a black eye at the age of, like, 1 or 2 is so traumatic, like, it doesn't leave your head. Like, I guess some baby, like, I don't know what it is, but to me, like, that's something that doesn't go away. So, no matter how angry I am, I always try to stay calm, try to do better for my mother. But at the same time, when she would get disappointed, it wasn't out of anger, it was out of hatred. Because if that's the case, when I was born, she could have took a break on her 21st birthday. Could have went out, could have said, okay, the doctors are here regardless, so I can still go out and have fun. She spent her 21st birthday with me in the hospital. And not only that, she could have went on to be a doctor. She could have went on to have been a very successful, rich, powerful woman. But if it wasn't for me and my brother who came along. So I just thought about my mother, her being a single mother, one who couldn't work because of all that, and her disabilities. But everything just, it hurt me the fact that people talk about me and her, and so the anger, And then one day I started drinking, and then I got so mad. I'm like, why should I hurt my like? I said to myself, if you're gonna hurt others, you might end up killing somebody. So I thought, now why you try to kill myself? But yeah, but every time I would try, I would always take whatever pills that I had. I popped them either when I was alone or before I went to school. And every day at school, my eyes. If you see somebody that has been high on pills, you know the eyes, the pupils, they get like, it's only big or small. I forgot. I think it depends on what it is. The lines, if they have like they either go away or the eyes either get big. No, that's what it is. It's like when it's dark, you close your eyes and your pupils get really big. That was me. Constantly sweating, and with that, I didn't go to class because I knew I was high on pills. I knew I was basically doing drugs to cope. So, and I don't want to have people notice. So I would skip class until it went down. Because it wasn't just okay that day. It was like I would pop so many pills on like Sunday, and then I would still just now start sobering down on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. So it just so much that I couldn't do. I was so angry with myself. I started scratching myself, and eventually I started cutting myself. Eventually I started taking razors in the shower, shaving my face. And I always told my mom that no, I was trying to shave out hair. And that my mom didn't know. I'm glad I would. I don't know if I should tell her the real reasons why I was shaving my face with just a razor and water and nothing else, because I don't want to. Because that's something. Because yes, it's a lot, but at the same time, that's my face. And I've always been told that I have a very beautiful skin complexion. But my lying and what hurt me the most, and it still does, every time my mom or my grandma, because my grandma is a diabetic, she takes certain medicine. The fact that they always think that they lost medicine. They thought they lost it, they thought either they was out or they thought it was just a bottle. And in fact, I would pretend to help to look for something that I knew that I took. Hurts me. And one day, my mom, I guess, when I say she caught me, but she saw me, like, she saw what some people didn't see, because there were some people that would see me, but I don't know if they told or what, I don't know if they told other people, but I just now I was living in fear that okay, they see me, but it's getting worse. I'm like, I don't care. Like if I do this, like I might as well. Like if she kicks me out, like I'm gonna go deaf. So there's nothing that I could do in my head. So I kept on. The one morning, my mom and I guess my whole family, they were going to Virginia because of my uncle, my late uncle, who actually passed a couple months. We had just found out that he had cancer a couple months, so they were going to visit him in Virginia. And when I found that out, knowing that my uncle was somebody that's been more of a closer father figure, because our father's been out of our life since I don't know when, since my mom and him broke up. Like my mom's always said that she has his number and she does. I think this number, and every time and it's the same number. She always said that I will not and I will never. I don't care how old you get. I will not let you live without your father. It's your choice as you get older, whether you want to call him or not. But just because we went through our things doesn't mean I have to put in y'all, because y'all are innocent. If anything, we could have worked it out, but at the same time, regardless, y'all do need your father. So whether you call or whether you want to call, times we have called, he answered, talk for maybe like 1 or 2 days, go months, go about a month, or go about a week after that, months, years. And then one day there was my grandma, his mother, who moved here from I forgot where she was, surprised us when we was like about in middle school. Around that time, I was still it was just getting worse. But I was still happy because at least I could at least now my grandmother, my other grandmother, I can see her. So I know it's like okay, if something happened with me and my mom and my grandmother, at least I can call them. Went to her and she took us out, and then after that, never got a call. Since then, to this day, I was that I give up. At the same time, it's like I can't force anything. I can't keep calling, keep calling, keep calling. Cause yes, I can call, but it's yours. But at the same time, you have a phone. You gave our mother, the mother of your children, your number to call us. So losing him, and losing my actual father, I mean not dying, just losing him because it's just that he was just not there. Was one thing about losing somebody the one that was my mom's brother, and two, he also did have my grandfather because because my grandfather had my uncle when he was in high school, so it's like, and then there was a bunch of things, there was a bunch of, I guess, whatever going on back then, where people were saying because he was in high school, I guess it was a prom night. Look at you. So I guess the reason why I would say it's not my grandfather's fault, but you can't let other people say put things in your head, and then especially if it's a child, okay, you can still take a DNA test or any of that, but just that was my second father. So knowing that he could still be like this, because he was coming around the family regardless, and my grandfather and him, they still had a relationship when he got older. So it's like if they can do that, I'm pretty sure either it's gonna be me who needs him or it's gonna be him that needs me. But at the same time, I was broken enough. Then I felt like I lost I think a father that had been there. And with that being said, because I know that was a lot, cause when we found out that, and then cause that and that happened within like a year or two of each other, because cause I just started middle school, and when that happened with my father and my grandmother in the summer of the school year, close to the summer, so that happened within a year, rather than after 8th grade with me going to 9th grade. That happened. I literally, like a shot, like a shot, really. my antidepressants, and one of my morning medicines. I dozed off. I thought I was overdosing. I wrote a note, a suicide note. Didn't wake up until the middle of the night when I realized I was hallucinating. I was hungry, but I was trying to eat. But that's one thing with some drugs, cause it's like if it's like meth or anything, like you do it for a long time, then when you get hooked on it, if you get hungry, you like I say, you don't want to be hungry or you just want to sleep or what it is, like that medicine or the drug, again pushes away. So I'm like, I'm hungry. I told my mom. I woke up because I woke up sweating. I was just high as can be. I was probably the worst high. Cause there were times where my mom thought, okay, you just sweating like me. And plus, my grandmother keeps the house hot as can be every time of the year. I don't know why, and it still is. I know for a fact I'm gonna be hot walking in with this shirt on. But if you think it is, it's true. Okay, it's true. Don't blame me. But my mom was asleep. It was like an hour before they even got up. I told her like I'm sweating. I feel like I'm hallucinating. My mom asked me, "Did you eat?" I'm like, "No, I didn't eat anything." Which I didn't eat anything for a while because I would either pop pills or drink. When you have alcohol, it's like people say you can eat before you drink, which now I'm gonna see why. Because once you do that, you get immune to it. It's like you don't want nothing else but alcohol. So with that being said, it transferred to a whole other thing with my grandfather because he had a lot of liquor in his under for some reason. I don't know why, but I know why he always goes there. You know, he just applied me for him and all the uncles. If you like, you know what I mean. If you come from a family that I come from, like a southern family, that is a homemade wine, white liquor, or just something. I think Hennessy or gin. It's always right, no matter what function it is, whether it's after a funeral, literally. We didn't have time because we didn't have to drive through. But if we were to go to somebody's house, we would have been drinking. Probably would have never made it back to the grave. So we would have been drunk. So that's my fault. But yeah, but drinking that was missing. He didn't know him thinking that okay, I just no maybe because he drunk flying and he forget a lot of stuff. You know, he wasn't an alcoholic, but when he get drunk, it's a whole other story. So you know what that is.
So James, you said you're 16 now. You've been through a lot. You are almost deaf from some prescription medicines that were given to you when you were just a baby, to being bullied because of your inability to hear and pronounce words as other people pronounce them. From bullying to depression to alcohol to drugs. Why is it so important for you to share your story with others?
Because I think because where I live and where I come from, I see people, and I still see them to this day, that other people who have went to school with them telling them that they could have been the first this, they were the greatest this. Went to a party, like, just they are the went to a party, they had like one day and then they got hooked on it, or they would just continue, but I don't know the story, but all I know is it was just either something. And I see them and then I hear the story, but I see this person today, I look at them, I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be somebody I want to be somebody that overcomes. That's it, just like that's it, because you don't have to be 16, 25, like I said. I know kids for a fact. I've seen somebody so depressed. I've seen somebody go to a funeral because their 11-year-old brother accidentally stuck a needle. If you know what, I forget the word, it's a big word, it's like a drug infected something needle. But a drug infected needle in the arm. Because they see either their parents do it, or somebody they know, or they see them do it when they see somebody else crying, and then they do that. But so they do it because they're crying. I think if I hear the story, and it's just like, I don't want to be the person, and I don't want my mom to have to bury me like my grandpa buried my uncle, and I definitely do not want my brothers, my brother, the one by my mother, and my other brother, to see somebody like me give up because of something that a lot of people go through at school. Now, there's not many kids that I see or think that I know or think, but at the same time, the many that are there, I'm pretty sure they get bullied too. Whether it's the color, whether like regardless of the color of who you are, who your parents are. I know kids that have the richest parents in the world. They do get bullied because their hearing aid is too cheap, or it's just so much to see somebody pick on somebody like that. And there's other people that know that you're hurting. People that knew that to tell I was hurting, they could tell they were hurting me and they knew. And to see my reaction, to see, because one, I was little and I'm feeling kind of little. So this basically like a little dwarf or a midget fight. And I see it in a funny way, but at the same time, it's kind of what it was. But it's still like they saw somebody small. But they're hearing aid with something that okay they're different. Like if he try to say something back, he can say something. He's not even old and he has a hearing aid. Which brings me back to this. You don't have to be old. You don't have to be 21 to be depressed, to get hooked on drugs. You do not have to be broke. You don't have to freaking be. You don't have to be from a poor neighborhood or a drug infected neighborhood. You can be in the richest family with the biggest family company or business. Something can happen and you can fall right into that and end up worse than anybody else. So what I'm trying to say is care for others, and to you, the people that look down, they look down on people who are either down or up, because there are people that still look down on other people that have a lot more at the same time. Just because they have a lot doesn't mean that you need to pick on them. You can be that person. So bullying that, and like I said, I know this might sound like, okay, you're just making excuses for the bully. It's not. If I was, I'm pretty sure I would be even worse. Because then they would still, because they would have got away with a lot. What I'm saying is, whether you're the victim, whether you're not, whether you see somebody, whether you know somebody, whether you hear something about it, or whether you just hear or see it happen, whether you know the person who is bullying or getting bullied, situation, or whether, and not even just bullying. If you know somebody that's going through something, or if you see somebody hurting, or whatever the case may be, whether you like them or not, or whether they like you or not, I feel like if whoever you worship, believe in, you're not a child of that person. You don't believe in them. You're not a disciple, whatever is the person, unless you don't give love to people that other people say that don't deserve love. Because everybody deserves to be loved. Because if nobody, not nobody. Because if it was the other way around, and it was me bullying somebody else, coming from the family I have, not only the me is my mother, the whole family, because the town I'm from, they kind of know our family. So not only that, it's like it's a life. So it's kind of hard to explain, but at the same time, it's not about images, but at the same time, it's about you and whether it's heaven or reincarnation, whatever your religion is. If you want to get to that same place after life, don't speak it. Don't just talk. Don't speak it. Don't be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Don't do it, but do it out of love. Do it without thinking. Just if you feel like somebody needs a hug, or if you feel like somebody needs prayer, if you feel like somebody needs to be talked to, if you feel like somebody needs to be heard from somebody else, don't think it, don't be like, and then later on something happens, I wish I could have done something to do with it. Because if you don't, It's that I hurt you because there have been more people that have gone through worse things that I could have helped, that I now know. Regardless of me going through what I go through, there are people that go through a lot of worse. There are people that are, I don't know if I should say because I don't know who's watching them, but there are kids that I know that were being sexually molested, raped by their own fathers, uncles, the kids that have there's so many people that go through so many things. There are kids that have watched their parents either die or that have watched their dad or their mom or just they go through a lot more. Like I said, me and my mom argue. Like I said, I mean we argue, but it's not like I'm saying okay we argue. It can still be a big deal, but at the same time, I'm lucky to have a mother. I'm lucky that God blessed me with a mother. The woman that she is like, I view her as a mother, but like I said, I love her as a mother, but I respect her as a human being, as a strong woman. Like if she wasn't my mother, I promise I would cry for her. I was something that I had because it's like she could put up with me. No, my father used to sell drugs, so it's like okay, my son do drugs. What if he ends up selling drugs? And then it turns to a whole other thing. So it's like the thing that my mother did, she did so much. I can't do this, but just because she didn't try doesn't mean that she doesn't want us to try. But I want to be here. I would not be here, and to be honest, I don't think I would be able to even tell the story. I don't think I would even be sober right now if it wasn't for the love. Well, just for the love, for that she's thanking you just for wanting, for the praying. Like at a young age, it's like okay, you got like me being me and the family that I have. You're mostly my grandma, but they will get up on us like you're going to church whether if I'm not going because I'm like I said just because I'm sick doesn't mean you can go because I ain't got a car right now or I ain't got gas so we come out with your grandma and I ride with her like I said, so going to church was like, oh my God, every Sunday, we gotta go to church and then gotta go to Auntie Pearl's house and do, it's up to Sunday dinner. Y'all know how it is. I don't have to explain it. Some of y'all know. It's just from the South. Y'all know what I mean. Sunday is either the first or the first or fourth after church. Go and either she makes the famous lemonade. It's the usual every Sunday. You know how it is. So, but like, I was used to that. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna church. Let me get join the choir. Join the choir. Did something, but like I said, it doesn't affect. Like I said, you don't think like okay, one day I'm gonna need. Not only one day, God is gonna be the only person, literally. Because whether your mother or whether if she leaves or whether you don't want to go to her, he's gonna be the only person that you have left, and he's gonna be the only person if you're a question that you're going to answer to. So you might as well do it either way. So if you want to go to heaven, like me, talk to God. But like at the same time, love others. Like I said, this was yesterday, but I cried because I felt like I could have been a little bit heartless instead of trying to see the good in others. Like for me to say that I try to see the good in all of my bullies. It's like okay, like there's something wrong with you. Either they was in your brain, they were. I'm not gonna lie, because they were the stop that, be nice, and then drama, and then they would do it all this to get the reaction out of me. So what I'm trying to say is, regardless if it's you, them, somebody you don't know, whatever it is, love them, love yourself, believe in yourself, do not give up, and most of all, talk to God or whoever you worship. Like whoever you praise, worship, whoever you believe in, like worship, talk to them, praise to them, like summon to them, like sing to them, whatever you do it. Because I'm telling you, if it wasn't from that, I'm 16, I'm telling you right now, you don't have to be 25 saying that this happened at 16. You can do it, and I promise you this. I don't care what you say. If I didn't believe that, I would not have done a lot of things like got on that bike, try to sing, acting, doing trying to do a little acting doing because I would have done a lot. I wouldn't have done none of those things if I without the doctors and people keep saying that, keep putting that in my head.
Well, thank you so much, James. This has been such an incredible. You're so wise. You're wise beyond your years, and I still say that. So, everybody that's watching this, James is in the process of writing a book about his journey through bullying and depression. He's 16 and he has such an incredible story. So, James, thank you once again for sharing with the world who you are, and we love you and we appreciate you.